Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another Tuesday morning cup of coffee leadership strategy nuggets. So we could disrupt what is not working and be able to position you with the clear goals and clarity so that you can not only get the promotion that you want, the contract that you've been seeking, but be able to move out of your own way while building your conflict for collaboration or vice versa, like understanding how whatever is conflictual that you can kind of move out of your own way and build it in for a level of collaboration. So let's chat and let's build what our strategy is for today. So happy Transformation Tuesday. The thing is that, if you're feeling stuck, the goal is to get unstuck. If you're feeling invisible, the goal is to get seen. And it's decision time to make sure that you are no longer a hidden figure. So, in today's conversation, we are continuing the conversation for the month where April is Stress Management Awareness Month. And in doing that, as leaders, it's important for us to really understand how it is that we show up, how it is that we recognize what's impacting us, and what it is that we need to move around so that we can continue to be successful. So, good morning. So, the question is your body taking score? Is your body taking score? You're a leader, you're a high performer. Is your body taking score? What is it that you need to divorce from in order to be able to level up effectively? What is it that you need to be mindful of to kind of pull back that curtain so that it no longer pauses you or freezes you in a way that is not serving you well? So, how is the body actually taking score? The body is actually taking score from a couple different aspects, and one of those aspects, or a couple of those aspects, is both your emotional wellness, your emotional intelligence, but also your medical and your stability, like in the systems that you work and in the capacities that you excel in. So when you think about how burnout, it could be like a catchy phrase, just like anger management, just like attention deficit, just like I don't know, so many different things. But when you're a high performer, stress is impacting your leadership if you don't know how to regulate it. Stress is impacting your leadership if you're unable to recognize it in the four stages, like in the before it gets to the full manifestation of how it's impacting you and how it's showing you that you are capable, not capable, at your capacity, not at your capacity. Oftentimes we push ourselves to that extreme limit and not really recognizing or not really taking personal inventory to understand that I have burnt the candle at both ends. I have looked at how it is that in burning the candles at both ends, what task could I have said no to? What task could I have delegated? What task could I, or constantly tend to have me negotiating my time? Last week we talked about, is time running your boss? Is time like the boss of you? So you want to kind of catch that to kind of understand how it is that you manage your time and how that time creates overwhelm, stressful situations, as well as guiding you into a space of feeling burnt out. Yet you have so many different things that are important, and you are the effective instrumental leader that has been given the assignment to be able to take that torch and move individuals moving forward. So it's like you have to feel comfortable with figuring out what it is that you need to do to evolve. And while you're evolving, recognizing what you need to shed away and eliminate in that space by pulling that curtain back. Because the thing that we do know is that stress and burnout are kissing cousins. But as they are kissing cousins, they can either push us forward in our goals that we have for leadership, or they can sabotage and pull us back. So let's just dig in real quick and talk about like what burnout can actually be, or how it actually, like, what is the definition of burnout? So the definition of burnout could be is, according to some resources on these internet streets, burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. This usually occurs for high performers and leaders who are overwhelmed, who are emotionally drained, and unable to meet those constant demands. So when you think about being emotionally drained, I often see individuals who are in leadership. Well, everybody is in leadership because you're leading your decisions, you're leading your charge, you're leading how it is that you are going to function, make the decisions, make your next move, what you're financially purchasing, what you're not. So that's an activation of you owning your voice, which is an activation of leadership. Now, whether in your workplace it falls into your title or not, there's still elements of where you are responsible to lead. So when individuals become overwhelmed, it might be that they have too many tasks on their to-do list. They've scheduled themselves out, burning a candle at both ends. And when you become emotionally drained, which makes you procrastinate and not really able to meet those constant demands, the emotionally draining is you're constantly finding yourself being fatigued, or that you want to take a nap, or that you're just not clear in your mind what direction it is that you are going to go in order to effectively address the concerns at hand. So when you're looking at what concerns are at hand, you become, if you're in that emotionally drained standpoint, you may be waking up in the middle of the night. You may have unrest, like where you're not able to sleep throughout the night as you were before. That's your body letting you know we have a little bit too many things on our list of our expectations, and we need to delegate. If not, if we're unable to delegate and really have that social support around us, then we need to take that time that we are awakened in the middle of the night, and kind of like jot down what are those first thoughts that come to your brain. Because as they are coming to your brain, it's coming to the surface. You're not going to remember them when you wake back up. So it's like the reason you're emotionally drained is because the thoughts are constantly running in your mind, and you haven't put a productivity plan in place such that you'll be able to achieve that. And so generally, you may be overworking yourself by thinking that staying those long extra hours are really helping you get the task done, when in actuality, we tend to tap out on a task at the 3 hour mark, maybe at tops 4 hour mark, but we tend to lose time. However, you have to be able to recognize when is your tap out mark and what have you put as the priority to get done in those particular time frames to encourage well-being, to encourage success, to encourage your opportunity to remain as the high performer because you enjoy that level of intensity of work. But if you're doing the work and the work is, and you're not able to serve not only yourself and your well-being, but those around you effectively, then you end up walking into the conversation of demonstrating from a chronic stress standpoint. Good morning, good Dr. Reginald. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. So you end up walking into that chronic stress that you have in your day-to-day situation. And so the blind spots that you have in your leadership that's impacting not only your productivity, it's impacting your momentum. It's impacting your thought process. You're not able to think clearly. And when you have so many goals on the table, if they don't have clear deadlines, then it's just a wish. It's just a wish that you have intentions on getting something done. Like we say, we have goals for the year. It's better to say you have goals for the month or the week that's feeding into the year. But this is one of the places where we get into that gridlock of working those long hours and developing our momentum to be experienced as chronic stress, because of the fact this goal that we have is very arbitrary and is very unclear. is very, very unclear that you know what direction it is that you're going. You know what direction you want to go, but the reason so many things can get in the way is because your goals don't have that specific situation that's going to help you be able to recognize what those things are. So these blind spots become your emotional triggers, where you are reading into situations in the boardroom, in a meeting, from an email, in a phone call, from someone's tone, or from something that they said, or from something that really probably doesn't have anything connected to what it raised up in you. When you don't pay attention to what's being raised and you don't really gain that clarity that you need, then you're walking around like a volcano waiting to kind of erupt. And really, the target person or the target situation is no longer present in your life, or is present in your life. And you have to understand, how are you negotiating your joy for the day? How are you negotiating your boundaries and understanding what is your realistic limit? And the thing is that this comes into a space of that daily divorce of self, where what do you need to separate from? When you think about what it is you need to separate from, you begin to understand your intentionality of the spaces that you lead. And then you also understand where the blind spots are popping up and pausing your productivity. So it's like the body is taking score in the fact of, it's letting you know when you wake up in the middle of the night, it's letting you know when you are constantly fatigued, it's letting you know when you are having headaches. How can you disrupt these patterns, these experiences, where you are able to continue to move forward and decrease the opportunity for stress, chronic stress, to just come in and do a hurricane in your whole schedule? And sometimes when it does a hurricane, are you saying, you know what, I do need to get up away from my desk, I do need to take a walk, I maybe need to make this phone call to a loved one or someone that I can just check on and kind of change the energy that I'm doing at this particular time? What is it that you really have control over, that you can manifest stress being eliminated, because you're evolving one conversation at a time? And when you are evolving, you are walking in a space of your authority, but you're also walking in your space of confidence unapologetically, because you are now choosing that how it is that you are recognizing these barriers, you're recognizing these blind spots, and you're doing something about them, so that your evolution is not paused, so that your next contract that you're trying to secure is not paused, so that you are able to get that promotion, get that raise, without having that emotional distress or emotional trigger have you debating and renegotiating, thinking that you are the common denominator that is doing something that's absolutely inappropriate. Now, when your body is taking score, it's giving you those post-it notes of life to say, pay attention to me. This is very important. This is very important because this particular task not done creates the fatigue. It creates the dehydration. It creates the you're not going to be able to be 100% focused on whatever X task is, because you have all of these goals and all of these things that you need to do, that if you don't pay attention to the post-it notes as it pops up, your body is going to decompensate. And what I mean by that is that you're going to have an untimely visit to the doctor's office, or to the emergency room. And then who is doing the task that you were overextending yourself for at that time? In the beginning, you're probably still thinking and overthinking what those situations are. However, where are you serving you? Where are you making sure that you have the specific things that are going to activate you being able to push yourself forward, but in a well-being standpoint, where you are successfully moving forward? So it's like, when you think about chronic stress and you think about the goals that you have, goals that are set in the absence of a specific time frame is just a wish. And as it being a wish, without that clarity that you would get from like understanding the GPS and understanding what's behind that curtain and understanding what you need to understand about how you function, how you think, how you move about in these leadership spaces, how you make those effective decisions that's going to move the needle point in your life, your career, and create that balance. Remember, whenever there's chaos in one part of your life, we tend to want to compartmentalize. However, compartmentalizing is only stuffing it in a bag and hoping that it never comes out again. However, when it resurfaces, it's going to be challenging the goals that you thought you set at a specific time. It's going to be challenging and taking you away from where your focus on leveling up your career really is going to be activated in the most powerful pivot of your mindset. And if you're not really having that strategy, you're not really having that blueprint to understand what it is that creates dysfunction for your life, creates the opportunity for you to feel like your goals that you have set are never going to come into fruition. And that's not the goal for anyone in life when you're walking in your authority. So it's like when you activate and understand how, utilizing, even if it was the GPS, which is your goals are going to have clarity, they're going to have like those specific deadlines. You're going to be able to plan and position yourself moving forward and have that strategy, the step-by-step ways in which you can avoid allowing this burnout and allowing this stress and allowing these things that tend to always pop up as these untimely post-it notes, letting you know that stress is winning more than you are. So when you think about your productivity, you have to think about how your stress is in the mix and how it's shifting your narrative. It's not making you have the most productive moments that you would like. And then are you really trusting your confidence in your lifestyle such that you are able to successfully be able to move and lead forward? So unmanaged stress is a hurricane awaiting to happen. Do you want that hurricane to just keep happening untimely, or do you want to be able to manage it by understanding what it is that you need? Now, in my recent professional development training conversations with individuals I'm working with, people have been triggered by lists because they're like, okay, I write the list and I don't do anything. It's because you write the list and you don't have a strategy on what tools you need to do with said list. People are identifying being overwhelmed. Yes, you're overwhelmed, but can you break that down into the conversation? Because you're most of the times you're overwhelmed by a self-generated to-do list. And by a self-generated to-do list, you have placed more things in your schedule. So the reason that the overwhelm happens that leads into stress is, or stress and even burnout, is because you have overtasked yourself. And it's like, yes, do a brain dump. List out everything it is that you need to get done. But then in the second column, look at what time frames that you really authentically have. And from that main list, get those things done without any distractions. And then on the following list, you just put whatever you didn't get done. That eliminates that space of feeling stressed and feeling overwhelmed, because now you can trust the process. You don't have a list that's just sitting there as a list that's just, continuing to be the same list and you just moving the stuff from one day to the next because your strategy is off. Your strategy and how you execute and implement has some 2 millimeter shifts that if it happened, you would have more balance in your lifestyle, your health, and you would trust with confidence how it is that you're leading. So when you think about burnout has both or all emotional, physical, and medical impact on your body. So your body takes score in a sense that it's letting you know what it is that you are able to do well and where it is that you need support. And sometimes the things that we're eating, most of the times, the things that we're eating is causing us an impact. The things as far as our movement, if we're not having any form of movement in our day, walking, we could walk in your house, but walking outside is great because then you get the vitamin D. Having some level of exercise, movement, music, whatever it is that brings you that joy, because you need to ensure that when you are confronting the spaces of burnout, that you're not welcoming in the spaces of a heart condition, the spaces of poor circulation, the spaces of respiratory health issues, because burnout from having too much to do on your list and not being mindful of your mind and your body and the things that it is that you need to do causes you to be impacted by the health side. So first it starts with the emotional dysregulation and being able to cope, but then it goes into the health strategies and the other challenges that you could have. And I'm just listing 3 because those are the top 3 that come across in all of the ways in which I live: heart conditions, circulation, and respiratory breathing, respiratory breathing conditions. Those are the top 3 that come across. There are many others because people experience migraines and they don't realize that the migraine is directly linked to food that you're eating, but it's also directly linked to how you may be close to burnout and you're not recognizing those recognizing the triggers that's set before you. So when you begin to trust how it is that you understand your burnout, how you understand burnout, and how you can move forward in regards to recognizing them as it comes to be, recognizing when it's beginning to disrupt your life, recognizing when you are slowing down and or even your pace is increasing. When your pace is increasing, it could be a great thing. It could be when you perform the best as a high performer. However, are you maintaining the balance that's going to help you get the structure that you need? Because burnout is truly, truly like a serious matter, especially when you consider that it can go from emotional dysregulation, and over time that dysregulation, not understanding your thoughts, not understanding your mood swings, not understanding your irritability, your frustration, that may even lead to anger, how it's manifesting in your body and triggering the medical and triggering the physical, which is all triggering that burnout. So when you are able to recognize your burnout, you can track your stress levels. And in tracking your stress levels, you want to be, when you begin to take inventory on what is actually causing you, you can then take the inventory to understand, okay, when do I experience stress the most? Is it in the morning? Is it in the middle of the day? Is it on a particular day of the week? Is it in the evening when you're trying to wind down and go to sleep? When you begin to track where you experience your symptoms, those random post-it notes more, you will begin to recognize when it is you need to introduce something else that's going to replace it. Also, identify and name what your stressors are. So if you know the people, time, and places where it actually occurs, then you understand that when you're in productivity mode, when you're in focus mode, when that goal has a deadline and it's more than just a wish, you have to recognize when you have to leave and separate yourself from sometimes the task, time, person, and places so that you don't walk into stress and you don't walk into a burnout. I've mentioned exercise and movement, but the most important out of all of these is speak up and negotiate for yourself, because you have to be able to let people know what it is that works best for you, as opposed to them volunteering you what's going to work best for you. You let them know. You understand what the task is at hand, but then you let them know what is the pace. Be clear on a deadline. As a high performer, we don't always ask what the deadline is. We just begin to add on and tack what this new task with the current task, and we tend to just take it and move forward. The thing that I encourage you is like, okay, so I'm currently working on this specific project, and this project, say the deadline or the delivery date is X. When would you like me to have this particular task completed? And then if it's a competing agenda, be comfortable standing in your authority and confidently moving forward with negotiating how it is that you are going to lead successfully. Now, if those things are challenging for you, then we probably need to have a chat, because as a leadership strategist and leadership disruptor, I'm going to help you be able to pinpoint and identify what those specific patterns are, what those behaviors are, and how you can shift the narrative to not only engage in that daily divorce of self, but also to recognize that to avoid burnout, you have to increase your social support system. You have to increase how it is that you can handle and manage work, school, home, the intersections of life, the intersections of business, and the intersections of what it is that matters to you, but understanding them from a mindset or a productivity place of strategy, knowing that you have the strategy and balance and key to you manifesting yourself effectively in your confidence, and understanding that you don't want to be burnt out. No one wants to be burnt out. No one wants to wake up in the middle of the night or wake up in the morning with a smashing headache that feels like a migraine and probably is a migraine. Nobody wants to have a visit at the hospital because their sugar levels are high, because of them being stressed, or because of them eating the wrong foods that kind of had them engage in a spike. So everything you do, from food to movement to rest to balancing how it is that you do life, is how you end up coming into the conversation of negotiating. Am I burnt out, or am I leading with productivity? Am I leading in my authority? And so that conversation is how you create that survivor to CEO. If CEO is your destination, whatever your leadership destination is, with having the right mindset, understanding your status, understanding and what positioning that you have with where you want to go, and securing that promotion, whatever that is, because the promotion is not always monetary, but it can be. But the promotion can be you promoting and negotiating what is giving you that balance and everything that you need so that you could be successful. And I look forward to being able to support and guide you from a side-by-side standpoint in doing that. But in the meanwhile, I hope that this Tuesday nugget has served you well, that you understand how burnout is in your body is taking score side by side and pausing you in your delivery, in your challenges of seeking that next promotion, seeking that next opportunity, and being able to recognize where your strengths are and where your challenges are. So if you're ready for like understanding like what that breakthrough is for you in your career, it's only the beginning part of our second quarter of the year. Why not change the perspective and change the look and be able to say, you know what, let me just see what these blind spots and roadblock things are that, you know, she's talking about, because I have been feeling stressed. I have been feeling a little burnt out. Let me take myself and put myself on as a priority and understand that burnout is a serious matter, and I don't need to have any of those health conditions or anything else that's going to disrupt my ability, except for disrupting my ability that I can level up my career unapologetically. So I thank you for another Tuesday leadership nugget, cup of coffee or tea. Like I said, it's tea for me these days moving forward. And I hope this nugget served you well. Thank you so much for joining on the replay. On live. If you catch me on a replay, let me know you're here. I will definitely share some love. And if you are listening to this and not only it served you, but you know somebody else who could benefit, feel free to share the love. In the meanwhile, you take care and you have a successful day. Take care.